going on, everybody? Welcome to Pillow Talk with Paul Goneau. Today, my guest is bartender, baker, bodybuilder, and gamer, Milan Leite-Dao.
Yes.
Nailed it?
Nailed it.
Fuck yeah.
All done.
Oh, my heart was racing, I'm not gonna lie. So what do you think? Abortion, yay or nay? I'm just fucking around. I was like, how do we start this, you know? No, I'm just fucking around. No,
we can talk about that if you want.
No, we don't have to go. That's definitely not how I want to open. No,
yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't do that. Not yet, at least.
Yeah, I try to shy away from super controversial topics, but we've had some conversations. I'm not like anytime someone comes on here, I'm not like trying to really lead it anywhere.
Yeah.
Wherever it goes, and it's not really. Some people I think treat it like an interview. That's not really what this podcast is.
Yeah.
It's just meant to be like a conversation and kind of like, get people to know the guest and obviously myself, just on another level, maybe just an inside. Like I have lots of wrestlers, musicians, and shit, so felt very fitting. I felt like we should have done this a bit ago, but we're here now, and thank you for being here.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. So. The bodybuilding is something that's super interesting to me. Like, I'm a fan of just go-getters, anyone who kind of sets a goal and, like, achieves that and is just kind of, chasing their dreams, if you will.
Yep.
And I'm just a big fan of that, but I'm kind of ignorant to your world, so I wanted to kind of get a little insight on that first, you know?
Yeah.
What got you into that world at first?
So I started off working as a trainer, personal trainer.
Gotcha.
And I worked with other bodybuilders. And I remember we had like a small office where we all had like our own computers. And I walked in to do some paperwork. And one of the other guys was watching a bodybuilding show. And it was specifically bikini, which is what I compete in. Mm-hmm. And I was like, the fuck are you watching? Like, I thought it was weird, you know? Because like, these girls are in bikinis, they're all done up, they've got this fake tan, so they just looked kind of weird. And that was the first time I had seen it, and he's like, you should try it. And I was like, no, like never. I will never do that. And then as I like continued working as a trainer, I was like starting to see more bodybuilders in the gym, and they were like, it was kind of motivating to me. It just like intrigued me a bit. So then I started to train as if I was going to do a show. And I started to notice like my body changing a lot. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna do my research, see how I can do this. So then I started prepping for my first show. This was in 2015. And then I was hooked after that. 2015, yeah. So I was 23, I think. 22 or 23, something like that.
So that makes you 30...
I'm 31.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm guessing it's kind of like the more you learn about it, the ignorance kind of like fades away and you kind of because I want to say it's similar to wrestling. Like they have a lot of things in common.
Yeah, for sure.
And is something that like the more you learned about it, it kind of, I don't know, extinguished that flame of ignorance kind of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of bodybuilders go into wrestling, or vice versa, the bodybuilders were going to wrestling after. Because it's like, at the end of the day, you're trying to achieve a certain physique, and you're a performer, right? So... No,
are there, like, weight classes?
Yeah. So, for men, they have your height, and then based on your height, you go on the weight. So, there's different categories for men. So, there's men's physique, there's men's classic physique, men's open. So, each one they have different criteria, but it's based on height classes, and then if you're in that certain height class, you have to hit a certain weight cap. And then for women, it goes based on height only until you turn pro. Then there's some, like the women's bodybuilding, they have weight and height as well, as amateur and pro, sorry.
And was that something that wasn't really an issue for you, like getting into it? Were you able to like nicely fit somewhere?
So for my category, thankfully, it's just by height. Okay. So as an amateur, you competed in a certain height class, and then once you go pro, it's all open. So you compete against all heights.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. And what's like, because I've seen, some of your competition photos. Is that what you call them? Competition photos?
Competition photos, yeah.
I was like, it's not a pageant. There's something, it's a little deeper than just a pageant. You know? There's a lot more work that goes into
for
that
sure.
kind of
It's
thing.
definitely deeper than a pageant, but it's also a pageant.
Is that like a disrespectful thing to say?
No.
About those kind of things, where it's like you correct people that say it. You know what I mean?
I think that now it's becoming more prominent that it is a pageant. Like, for my category especially, well, even for all categories, like, everything has to be on point. Like, they have certain criteria where, like, your hair, your makeup, your skin, your nails, like, everything has to be on point.
It seems real intense.
You're judged on absolutely everything that you can think of. So, whereas, like, before, they weren't really going too much into small details like that, but as the sport has evolved, they've really, really, like, buckled down on those things. So, yeah, I would say that it's a pageant. I think at first, maybe a couple years ago, you could maybe get a little bit offended, if somebody said it was a pageant. But at the end of the day, it's a bodybuilding pageant.
So being that it's just like your height, like is there, because like in MMA and like just like a lot of combat sports, like the weight cutting is involved. Is that something that you have to deal with, or is that kind of where you're at right now? It's something that you're avoiding, or what's the deal with that?
Yeah. So for a competition prep, like that's essentially what you're doing. You're just like seriously, like you're trying to get as peeled as possible.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're looking for when you're on stage. Is you have to be super conditioned, and as the years go on, they're wanting more from every category in terms of condition. So
is that because there's like more people doing it?
I think the standard has just been set so high every year.
Yeah.
And because social media is such a prominent thing right now, especially with bodybuilding, it's like you can't... It's... The only way to separate yourself from other competitors is to be able to bring a condition that nobody else can bring. So, yeah.
You think social media is good for what you're doing?
I think it's good and bad.
Yeah.
I think it's good and bad because there's so many variables, but there's so many negatives that can come from it in terms of like obviously PED use is like massive within the sport. Like you can't nowadays as an amateur even, like it's very rare that you can compete as an amateur naturally in an open, because there's a natural stream and then there's an open stream. Mm-hmm. So if you're competing in the open, like you have to take PEDs.
So is that just mean like there's no testing, or is there testing involved at any levels of these kind of things?
There's testing in the natural stream, but in the open it's all non-drug tested. Mm-hmm. So people really take that to the extreme, right?
Yeah, I mean if they're allowed, and it's weird because I feel I'm so on the fence of certain things. Like I think if you're competing and you're doing something like on the level of like the NBA and stuff like that, like I don't think you should be doing performing enhancing like anything, you know. I don't think like smoking weed or that kind of shit matters, but like certain things I think should definitely be tested for. But then it's like for sure The Rock is doing some shit, you know, and he's not a wrestler anymore, and I'm just like, is there a problem with him really doing, like, it's just a lifestyle choice at that point. I feel like I'm so weird about it. I've also seen like the negative side of like roids specifically, where like wrestlers just lose their shit in the fucking locker room, and it's like, yo, dude, you know, and it's so I'm really kind of weird. How is the like community generally, like how, like is it accepted or is it kind of frowned upon?
I think it's a bit of both. Like in terms of competing, like I was saying, like it's almost at this point, at this stage of where bodybuilding is at like a high amateur level and pro level, like it's mandatory. That's the only way you can compete. It's like, and so back to what you're saying about like the NBA and stuff like that. Yeah. Like a lot of these pro athletes that you think may not be taking PEDs are taking PEDs.
Oh yeah.
Because if you think about it, like even yourself, like you train super hard, you're training every single day, you're eating everything you possibly can. If you're putting your body through the ringer, like your recovery is not going to be, you're eventually, your body's going to break down. So it's like when you think of like these NFL athletes and NBA, like they're playing however many games.
Oh yeah.
A week.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if you remember, this was like, oh God, I don't know, maybe, I want to say like 8 years ago, maybe more. Tennis player, Sharapova, she's female. She was banned for taking growth hormone, which is a peptide. It's not a steroid, but still, growth hormone. Every celebrity that you can think of takes that. Like, that's how they stay so youthful, is they're taking like at least 1 to 2 IUs probably of growth hormone every other day or a week. So it just kind of keeps you youthful. But some people abuse that, right? So...
Well, I think, yeah, there's definitely,
there's a lot of abuse. And that's why, like, that kind of brings me back to, like, where I think, like, social media has been beneficial, and also it's been really bad as well, because Joe Blow, who just started in the gym, sees that, you know, his favorite celebrity or favorite fitness influencer is taking XYZ.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, how do I get my hands on that? Because I want to look like that. I want to do that. So then they do it without any research, not thinking of the negative. So I don't care who you are. The moment you decide to take and make that choice, there's negatives to it. And you're taking time off of your life. You fuck up your longevity. So it's a decision, or it's a choice that I think not a lot of people really sit and think about. I think everybody nowadays just wants like instant gratification or instant like results, and they don't think about the health issues that they're going to be.
Oh yeah.
They're going to be, what's the word? Sorry. I'm blanking here.
Well, it's just the health issues that they're going to have later down the road. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost like professionally, like whatever you do, like if you're some sort of athlete, it's almost become like a soccer player, right? Like, I don't hate on a soccer player that can like fuck someone up and the ref doesn't see. Like, that's a part of the game, man.
Yeah.
And it's almost like this kind of thing has become a part of the game for whatever you're doing. Like, I know in UFC, they just changed a bunch of shit, like, a few years back. And then a slew of, like, you know, competitors got busted because the new tests, like, could detect the shit that they were taking. And then they had to find new routes to get away, you know, from the new tests.
Most of the time, they time it properly where it's, like, out of your system. Because certain drugs will stay in your system for longer.
But I can appreciate that there's, like, you know, one that is like, okay, do whatever you want. I kind of think, like, that's wild. Like, there should actually be something like that for the UFC. It's like, look,
there's
no limits. Just do whatever you want. If you guys agree, we'll watch you.
Yeah,
and
those fights are crazy. So my boyfriend and I were very much into, like, MMA and just boxing and all that stuff. Like, that. Like, I grew up with it. He grew up with it. He actually grew up doing MMA, jiu-jitsu, stuff like that, boxing. Right. And then my dad was an 8-time black belt in Taekwondo. So it's like I grew up with that same, like, we were just a fan of it. My brother and I used to spar all the time. Anyways, so my boyfriend recently told me about this. I don't know if it's in Korea or Japan, but they just let these guys take whatever. And the fights are crazy because they're just fucking so jacked and they're so strong.
Yeah, I definitely
so much more entertaining.
Yeah,
I'll find it.
I can appreciate both. Like, I'm not the guy who watches. Like, we're gonna talk about it after, but like George St. Pierre is, like, I would say the best MMA fighter of all time. Like, in my opinion.
I agree. He's one of my favorites.
Like,
a
lot of people would say he's not like exciting to watch. You got that for a lot of his fights, but it's like the dude's style is undeniable. Like, he went away for so long, just like. Gave up his belt and then came back and just like won the belt like it was nothing, and it's like, you know what, I don't even want this shit, someone else, you know. And it's just...
I think he's like a good representation of like the art of MMA.
Yeah.
You know, like, he took every possible route and every possible technique and he tried to just master it all. I can really appreciate that about him, and it's funny that I was gonna bring him up. He's one of my favorites. I grew up watching him. Yeah. He really motivated me. Like, once I started bodybuilding, it was like, okay, like, who do I want to be as an athlete? Do I want to be just somebody who's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it to just, you know, maybe win or get top 5, like top 3? Like, no, like, I want to do this to win. Like, that's just, how I had to turn that on because I think that's like my dad's mentality. My dad taught me that because my dad was a fighter too. So it was like I had to make that decision, and that's something that you have to switch on and you have to keep it on. Like you have to make that promise to yourself because then it's just, to me it's like, what's the point? Like I don't know, like there's some people in the industry, I think in any industry or sport, where they're just like content with being just like average.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why, like, yeah, George St. Pierre, huge fan of him because you could tell he wanted to be the best in every single area.
Yeah.
It's like that really taught me a lot.
Yeah,
motivated me.
In all honesty, like if you don't want to be the best at what you're doing, like some might ask, why are you even doing it? Like I feel in culinary school, like I'm a shit talker. Like play video games. Like half the fun of like anything is just like talking shit to me, and just like I think there is a fine line between like confidence and arrogance, you know, and sure. I like to like just fly underneath that. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even in like culinary school, like, you know, my teachers would like say some shit and I'd be like, I'm better than them, you know, like in their face, like just not like I'm telling you, like if you give us the same thing to do, like mine is gonna be better, you know, and it was just and some people were like weird, and the shit, like the I don't know, the chef, the teacher, whatever, he was just like, that's how you should think. Like, you know,
even if sometimes you don't actually believe that.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily
have to tell yourself that.
You know, it's important. You know, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
I think it's really, really important. The mind is so strong, and it's like you can't give in. You cannot give in.
Do you find like motivation from like odd sources sometimes, or just tend to be like when you're working out and like a certain song, or like where do you find your motivation when you don't have any? What inspires you?
Music for sure helps me a lot, but I listen to, so like when I'm getting ready for a show especially, I listen to a lot of motivational stuff like the moment I wake up. Like I'll put on like Les Brown, who else is there? I actually really like Matthew McConaughey's stuff, like Denzel, like, who else? Eric Brown, I think his name is.
I don't know who that is.
He's like the super aggressive guy, like just telling you you're a pussy pretty much.
Yeah.
So when I have no motivation, I think I like to, I do my best to just go back in time and think about who I was before and who I am now.
Yeah.
And how much I have elevated as a human, and whether that be physically, mentally, emotionally, just, you know, small things. And then that's my kind of like motivation, or the flip of the switch in my head to be like, stop doubting yourself, you can fucking do it. And then that's what helps me there. But I think it's also just like being surrounded by a lot of different types of people. Typically, I would say like successful people. Like, I just see people, like you were saying, like go-getters. Like that really motivates me. I don't care what the fuck you're doing. Like if you're just pushing to be the best in whatever you're doing, that's what motivates me. It doesn't have to be like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
the thing with I don't know, go-getters, let's say, is that I feel like, you know, you get so focused on a goal a lot of the time, and as you're doing the thing that you're enjoying, like you achieve goals, and then your goals become different, and you're just chasing this dragon, and you kind of stop a lot of the time.
Yeah.
To really appreciate the growth that you've made.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure the goals you have now are way different from, like, 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think more people just really sometimes... And I'm kind of in a lull. Like, I've stopped producing shows. They're all coming back in October. And I have another one coming back, so I'm going to have 3. And I'm trying to come back, like, you know, full force. But I don't know. Just, like, mentally, I feel like I'm in a lull. And I'm saying this out loud to kind of remind myself also. Not just tell people, but, like, appreciate the growth, you know?
Yeah. And I think that it's important to kind of embrace the times that you're feeling like that as well, because then you can't appreciate the highs, or you can't appreciate when like you're just blooming and progressing, right? Like and realistically, it's like if you're progressing, sometimes that can lose its like spark, so you have to be lower in order to push yourself to be higher.
And so what, you were saying you do like 3 a year, 3 competitions?
So when I started, so my first year I did 1, and that one went really well. So how it works is you compete, like I was saying, in your height class, and then you go against all the height class winners.
How do you even get in that shit? Like,
what do you mean?
how do you just like email somebody and they're like,
yeah,
good
so
enough, come, you know, like...
No, actually, so that's the point of the judging. So you have to sign up. So you have to get a membership to the association.
Okay.
So there's like multiple different associations here in Ontario. But the one I'm in is the CPA, which is the pathway to the IFBB, which is what Arnold was in. So the Olympia.
Yeah.
That's the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. So, yeah, so you sign up, you get a membership, and then you're eligible to compete in all of their competitions for the year based on the tiers. So there's a tier system. So there's a regional show. Back in the day, it used to be regional, provincial, national. And then once you reach nationals, if you win that, then you can win your pro status. Mm-hmm. But now it's just regional and national. But you have to get top 3 at a regional show to qualify for nationals. Whereas back in the day, it was top 5 to qualify for the next tier.
Gotcha.
And so on and so on. So yeah, so you just, you register online for the show that you want to do. Then you show up, you register, they height you, and then you're put into your class, and then you compete the next day.
All right, and so you have a competition.
Yeah.
What's your like lead up to that like? Like how long before that do you start preparing, or is it just kind of a thing where you're like pretty on point?
Yeah.
Like you have to like maintain your body all the time, like, and then there's just like quick little, I guess, camps that you do before them. Is that how long do those?
So it really depends on the athlete. Like, there's some people who are genetically just, like, more conditioned. So if they need to come in a little bit more muscular, then they'll focus on more of, like, a muscle building phase or, like, hardening up the muscle. So just add a little bit more density. And then there's people who, are more prone to carrying probably a little bit more body fat in the off season. So then you would start doing a cut however many weeks before. Like, ideally, you would like to do... Well, depends where you're at, but I typically like to start around 20 weeks. Before I used to do 16, but it was like, that was never enough. Like, especially now to the standard, like the criteria, the conditioning is absolutely crazy. So you have to give yourself enough time to get down to that body fat with it being, I was going to say with it being healthy, but it's not healthy at all, regardless of how you do it. It's not healthy. But, yeah, so for me, I typically like to take about 5 months around there, and then based on the progression of the prep, you kind of decide what you want to do when it comes to your food, your cardio, and then the week before, there's a lot of, it's called peak week, which is like the most important week of your prep, because it's like you're implementing so many different protocols to help you reach that like perfect look that typically only lasts for like a day. Like, it's not maintainable. Yeah, it's not maintainable. Like, you're cutting water, cutting sodium, then you're cutting your carbs, and then you're upping your carbs, and then it's like so many different things. Like, it's pretty intense. So, this is speaking from like a very high like national level and like even at the pro level.
Their competition season? Is it typically like summertime?
No. So it starts in. We honestly pretty much have shows all year long. Yeah, but the CPA starts in I believe April, beginning of April, and then ends end of November, early December.
All right, so you're done your last one.
But that's as the amateur schedule. But the pros, they have shows pretty much all year round.
I remember the last one you did. I was like, hey, does Milan still work here? Like, haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, but so you finished your last one that you have like scheduled for the year.
Yeah.
Right? Is there like, are you like going out? What's your first thing that you're doing? Do you go like get sushi or some shit, and you're like, fucking, I just want like McDonald's and nuggets? Or are you just like, are you fine by the end of it? What's your...
Honestly, Paul, like, I've done 12 shows now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it really depends on how I feel when I get off stage. Because it depends on the result. Okay. So, like, for me, like I was telling you, like
how you do in the competition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I compete to win. That's just, you know...
That's what you're there for, yeah.
Yeah, like, some people don't do that, and that's fine, but that's just how I am. And,
You're hard on yourself when you don't win?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like to lose, but it's not so much. It's more because then I can reflect and think, what did I do or what did I not do that could have resulted in a win, and then how do I take that and move forward and improve. But sometimes it's with bodybuilding, it's the one sport that it's like based off of opinion only, right? Like it's like basketball. You get a hoop, 3 points, 1 point. It's like, that's set in stone. Whereas like bodybuilding, it's just based on a panel of judges.
Yeah. Right?
So it's like you have to, I think it's better that you know sooner than later that that's completely out of your control. So I've had to like coach myself into like telling myself like, don't be upset because you brought exactly what you needed to bring. Mm-hmm. And it just wasn't what they wanted. Yeah. Right? And it's just something that I've had to really try to overcome because I've been very happy with what I've brought forward, and I think that in some cases I was deserving of, you know, a certain placing. Or in other times I'm like, you know what? I completely agree. Like I think I could have been this, could have been that. So yeah, it's really depending on how the show went and how I'm feeling, because it's just like so much emotion. Like there's just so many emotions that you're feeling the moment you step off. Yeah, because you're like, you've been working so hard every single fucking day for this one day, and for this like 2 minutes on stage, and then you're like, okay, what do I do now? Yeah. Like you just it's go back to reality. Yeah.
It's like instant depression almost.
Yeah,
like,
well, there's
exactly.
Well, that's actually a really big thing within bodybuilding. It's called post-show depression. Yeah. Because it's like you don't have this like extreme thing that you're working towards anymore, and then you see your body changing because like your peak week usually is so intense that even when you have to, if you're cutting water, for example, like if you've cut down your water to like only 500 milliliters for the show day, if not less, you can't just like go and drink however much water you want like the next day. When you're done. You have to make sure you're monitoring that. And then that's when you see your body changing, and then you're like, holy shit, like it's over, and like I don't look like fucking like super sick anymore. So it's kind of a mind fuck. And then people love to say things to you about it too, right? So it's like it's really it's quite the,
like, what kind of things
sport
when you say.
Well, I think, like, when I'm getting ready for a show and when I'm post-show, people love to say, oh, you're so skinny, or, you know, you look really tired, or you look whatever. And it's like, yeah, I am fucking tired. Like, you don't need to tell me that. Yeah, like, I fucking know. Yeah. And, like, just because I'm in bodybuilding doesn't mean you can say what the fuck you want to say to me. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then it's like, then after the show, it's like I'm holding, like, maybe 5-10 pounds of water, or I've put on fat. Oh, you've put on weight. It's like...
Motherfucker. Yeah.
Oh, but when I was fucking getting ready for a show peeled, you're telling me I'm too skinny. Now you're telling me I put on weight. Like, but it's I think it's very interesting. It's very interesting. So that's like, you know, one thing that's kind of hard to deal with, and I think that like some bodybuilders aren't prepared for that, or don't realize that it's like a huge obstacle.
I think it's also... like, No, finish what you're gonna say.
No, go ahead.
All right. I was gonna like kind of trail off. So if you're gonna...
that's fine.
Okay. What I was gonna say is something that I also found interesting, because I was like, I never really considered it before, but it's very common for like any kind of like combat sport where it's like, don't leave it in the judge's hands. Like, don't do that. But it's like you literally have no choice. you have to. Like, it's only up to them. That's wild. That's wild. Where it's like, it really is down to opinion.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty... it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you know, it's just... The thing with not performing the way you want to, like, I feel like it's exactly what you said. I agree. And there's got to be times where maybe you're even harder on yourself. And does your boyfriend, like, do the same kind of...
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah.
And where he's like, no, you were good, you know? And you're harder on yourself than you actually did. You think you did worse? There's a lot of that, or...
Yeah. Well, again, it's based on opinion, right? So it's like you'll have, like, your support crew or your friends.
It's nice that your boyfriend does it, too, you know?
Yeah, it is. It's nice, but it's also a challenge. Because it's, like...
You compete with each other?
No, like,
okay.
No,
but like, are you competitive with each other? Like,
no.
Okay.
Like, thankfully, like, well, I'm like, I think he's phenomenal, and I try to support him as much as possible, and vice versa. So that's really nice. But it's also like, we're both very competitive, and we both really, really like to win. So it's like when we're locked into something, it's like, that's the most important thing, right? So that can kind of, you know, create a little bit of, not competitiveness with each other, but it's, I guess, priority. Like, we're like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's, yeah, we both do it. And, it's been good. He just recently got his pro card, so he won his pro status in, June.
Has he been doing it longer? Who's been doing it longer?
I've been doing it longer.
Okay.
He's actually 5 years younger than me. So, and I think he's only done 3 shows. Yeah, 3. And he's won all of them. So, he's really, really good. But I've been going at it for way longer than him. So, but we've both been very successful, which has been nice, but it's such an intense sport. And
I feel like, for me, I've always kind of thought the idea of having, like, a comedian, like, person would be nice, you know? But I also think of, like, the flip side as you're talking. It's like, like, your highs could be really good, but then your lows, it's like, fuck, well, we're both not in the right headspace. Like, we're both down a little bit. Like, that's gotta...
Yeah. I feel like it definitely has its pros and its cons. But thankfully, for him and I, like, we have other things going on in our life, and we have other ambition.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I find some other bodybuilding, like, couples, I guess, like, bodybuilding is 110,000% their life. And that's all they do. So, it's good that we can relate on that, and that we can still pursue other things and support each other in that. So, yeah, it's important to have. Some people don't even have a thing, and it, like, bumps me out a little bit. Like, what do you got? What do you do? What do you do with your time? Like, what are you hoping to, like, I don't know. And I'm not a judgy person. I'm like, hey man, if you're happy, you're happy. But I just, it's so. But I think that it's the people that, those people aren't happy though.
You don't think?
I think some of them maybe.
Yeah.
But some of them definitely aren't.
Yeah.
They're not happy, and then they have no ambition, and they have no drive, or they have no...
Or they would just be happier if they had that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like your baking thing. How long is the baking thing? That was so new to me. I had no idea. Like, I knew you were a gamer.
Yeah.
But how long has the baking thing been a thing?
So I started when I was really young, but, like, I just, like, stepped away from it for a long time when I started, like, I started training, and I started really focusing on, like, my health and my fitness and stuff like that, and then my bodybuilding, so I kind of had to step away from it, which was, like, it was not anything I really had to think about. It just kind of happened, but it's always been a passion of mine, like, just food in general. Like, I grew up, like, both my cultures, like, my, like, Portuguese and Vietnamese culture, food is such a big thing for us, like, we'll have somebody over for, like, no fucking reason, and it's like we're making all this food,
for no reason.
For no reason, for like half an hour, and we have this whole, like, table of food ready to go. So it's been a huge thing that I've grown up with, and then also just, like, when I was in kindergarten, yeah, I think I was in kindergarten or senior kindergarten, I like wanted to like bake for my whole class. So I made them like vanilla and chocolate cupcakes when I was like fucking 4 years old.
Yeah.
And it was just like the piping on the cupcakes, like I absolutely love that. I'm very artistic, I guess. Like I love to draw.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, what else do I like to do? I just have a very artistic side.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that plays a big role in my baking because I love decorating cakes or decorating cupcakes, cookies, all that stuff.
Gotcha.
Like the visual part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I started that when I was young, but then I kind of stepped away. And then when I met my boyfriend, I told him that I loved to bake. And he's like, oh, like that's pretty fucking cool. Like,
yeah.
why don't you do
cool.
it? Yeah. So then I was like, oh yeah, I just kind of enjoy it more like a hobby. And then I continued to like really think about how much I really enjoyed it. And like try to go, like I was saying to you before, like I try to go back in time and think about like where I was and where I am. And then take like the positives and the negatives and see, was I more positive in this area before? And am I more negative in this area now?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, that was something that really brought me a lot of happiness. And I thoroughly enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what? If I can put as much time and effort into this, like I have with my bodybuilding, because realistically my bodybuilding is, it's really benefited me in a lot of ways, but at the same time it hasn't. So I had to think about different pathways or think about things after bodybuilding, life after bodybuilding. So that's why Ryan was like, I think you should really try to like pursue it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to practice. I haven't baked for a while. So I did. And then it's been great.
Well, anytime you want to test out anything.
Yeah, so I actually
bring it in.
I actually was planning to bake for you today.
Oh yeah.
But I worked 2 events yesterday.
Yeah.
I worked at there was a golf tournament for Chop actually that I worked yesterday. And then I worked like a stag on the Thursday. So I wasn't able to bake, but I wanted to bring you something.
Oh, it's all good.
Next time I will.
Don't worry.
For sure.
Have you ever worked in a kitchen?
Technically, Chop is the only, like, kitchen I've worked in.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot of money in it. It's kind of, like, when I first got into it, I was definitely more, but, like, I've been doing it for, like, I don't know, 10 years or something, and I was a lot more interested. But since then, like we're saying, goals, you know, you achieve something, you're like, what the fuck? You know, I got out of a relationship, and I was just like, she had a daughter, and I've talked about this, like, numerous times on here, but, like, when that was done, I was like, I haven't done anything for myself for, like, 5-6 years. Like, what? And then I got into comedy, and, like, all this stuff just kind of grew, and, like, I'm not saying I don't like to cook. I like to cook more at home now, but, like, the industry, like, I'm kind of over it. I really enjoy where I'm at right now. Like, I work with people, we can have fun, everyone's, like, it's not really, like, crack the whip type place. I don't know how it really is front of house, but, like, Stu seems pretty cool.
Yeah, Stu's great. It's definitely a different dynamic. Yeah. Front of house versus back of house. But I think, like, I thoroughly enjoy, like, home cooking, and I love to just push myself with trying to come up with a product that's impressive visually as well as taste. Mm-hmm. And that ties into like my actual like food and then my baking. Mm-hmm. But I grew up watching the Food Network like every fucking day. Yeah. And I remember when I was like 6, 7, I used to come home and make like full on meals for myself. Like whatever was in the fridge, like I'd make pot of rice. I'd make like an egg omelet with like fish sauce, green onions. We'd have like this like Vietnamese sausage in the fridge. Uh-huh. I'd chop that up, fry it up, make like a bowl of like fried rice. Yeah, almost at like 6. Shit. Yeah. I just had to like teach myself how to do it. Like obviously I lived from my parents, but
there were times where it was
when they were both working. It's like I have to do it for myself. So that's when I really started enjoying it because I was like, I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah.
So
it's nice when you do something, you're like, oh shit,
and
it
then you
actually
taste it
tastes
and you're
good.
yeah. It's the most rewarding thing ever.
Yeah.
And then being able to do that for other people makes me really happy. Because some people just don't like to do that. They don't like to cook. Yeah. Like my boyfriend, he cooks.
Yeah.
And he eats a lot because he has to, but he doesn't like enjoy eating. If that makes sense.
Yeah, he's like doing it for the purpose of like, just not like, he's eating a bunch of like chicken or some shit and just trying to, I got you.
Yeah.
He's got other goals with what he's eating.
So like when I kind of came in, I was like, okay, well, you can do this or that, or let me do that for you, and then you'll see the difference. And then now he's like starting to learn more about it. It's like every time we're together, he always wants to watch a cooking show, which is nice because he's never watched that before. Yeah. So yeah, and like my baking shows, I'm constantly watching those. It's like my way of studying.
Did you know Kitchen Nightmares is coming back?
Is it really?
Kitchen fucking Nightmares. Yo,
where's it gonna be though?
I don't know, like what channel or whatever. I don't know. I freaking illegally watch that shit. But Soap Today, I don't know how you watch your shit. There was like a website, Soap Today, that had like everything, and it's down. That's where I watched it previously. Because like my girlfriend, she moved from like UAE like maybe around like 9 years ago.
Oh wow, okay.
And so there's like just like a lot of things that like I'm into that she has no idea about. So it's like really cool to like go back and watch it. And we were just watching Kitchen Nightmares like as we like would make food or whatever as we ate dinner and shit. It was like that show. And then we found out it was coming back. Like it's been off the air for like 10 seasons.
We watched that show a lot.
Yeah.
What other ones do you watch?
Oh man. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hell's Kitchen, like Gordon Ramsay stuff. I was into like Iron Chef for a while. It's just water. It's all good. It's just this.
I didn't even realize.
I just like I would say last year got into The Bear. I know that's not really the same kind of. Have you never heard of it?
No.
It's like a scripted show, but it's about like the culinary world.
Oh, okay.
And like it's just extremely accurate. There's a lot of like front of house stuff too. But just a really good representation of what the industry is like. I think there was like I loved Food Network, but I think initially there was like this big surge of people that got into the industry and thought it was going to be like this glamorous thing. And like, dude, like half the people that I went to culinary school with, within like 6 months, were doing some other shit.
Yeah.
Like it's a hard thing to do. So I don't blame you for like being a bartender, you know?
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I'm not saying that's easy. You have your different things to deal with, you know?
Yeah, but, it's a little bit of a shit show. For sure.
Where did you work before Chop? You were doing
Chop
bartending?
was the only place.
Really? Oh my god, how long have you been at Chop?
Like 8 years.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, oh my god.
Yeah, I started off as a host there.
You're just a good person. You just held down one job for 8 years. You know, I can't do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
My longest job was 5 years.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about, honestly. Like
8 years.
8 years, yeah. Wow. I think like I'm starting to realize this about myself, but like when I'm starting something, I just want to keep progressing as much as possible. So starting off as a host, and then I got promoted to server, and then it was like I was serving in the dining room, and then after that I was serving in the lounge, and then after that was patio, and then I moved to Calgary, and I worked at the Chop there, and then I started supervising there because I was like a shit show there, like absolute shit show. I was like, hey, how can I help? Because clearly me serving is doing fuck all here. So I started supervising, and then I moved back, and then I was supervising at Meadowvale, and then that's when I got on bar, and I was doing both and serving. I was working every day.
Did you just move to Calgary for the job?
No, or... I had moved there for my ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that just, same like job, was a shit show. So I ended up moving back. Best decision I ever made, for sure. Mm-hmm. I just like, it was, honestly, I don't regret going out there. Like, I learned so much about myself, and I learned so much about just life in general. And I was able to take whatever negative had happened there and really turn it into a positive when I came home.
Yeah.
And I really grew as a person.
Love that.
So as much as it was a very difficult time, I don't regret it, and I don't, like, I'm very glad that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had come back to CHOP, and then that's when I was doing serving, supervising, and bartending. And then...
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Plus, bodybuilding is really, really tough. So... And then COVID happened. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I started streaming.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask.
Because I went paralyzed.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
like,
I had a really...
Actually? Like...
Yeah.
Okay, explain.
So, like I was saying, so when I moved back from Calgary, I was working at CHOP. So I moved back on December... I got back December 1st. I went into CHOP December 2nd. And I worked every fucking day. Literally every day, all day, up until Christmas, because we're closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, all the way up until then. And then I was doing the same thing pretty much up until, March, that COVID happened? 2019? Yeah, 2019. And then, so I went from just being go, go, go. I was training every single day on top of doing all... like working that much, and like the way CHOP is like I'm constantly running around. So I was just go, 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 and then COVID happened, and I had this like back issue that kind of started flaring up after my last 2 shows of 2019, which were in June and July, and then I moved in December. So it was like kind of flared up after my shows. I think it was like a mix of just like overkill with competing for so long. Like I had prepped from January to July, and it was like quite intense. And then I went right back into work the moment I was done my shows, and it was like I had this like weird like pinch like in my back. It was actually like mid to the right of my lower back, and I was kind of ignoring it. I was like, oh, whatever, it's just probably like I'm just sore from training. And then COVID happened, so I wasn't able to train. And then what happened was, I guess my chiropractor explained it as like your body just like seized up. So I was out on a walk with my mom, and I was like, Mom, my back is like really fucking bad right now. Like I don't know if I can like keep going. And then she's like, no, you're fine, keep going. So I kept going, and then I felt it just fucking go. My whole lower half went numb. I collapsed. I couldn't move. Like, I was, like, it felt like I was being stabbed in my back, like, constantly. And any other movement that I would make, like, even so I was on the ground on my stomach, and I tried to, like, move my arm up, and that made it fucking 10 times worse. My mom's never heard me, like, scream at the top of my lungs. I was fucking screaming. And she had to run home, get the car. Poor thing. She's smaller than me. She had to, like, try to get me in the car. And then because it was COVID, hospitals or none of that shit was open. Credit Valley had just had an outbreak at the time. So I had to get on the phone with my RMT, who then put me in contact with a chiropractor to try to get me up from off the ground because I couldn't fucking move. Like, I literally could not move. It was the scariest thing I'd ever experienced. So it took him 2 hours to get me up. Man. And so I think he said it was a ligamentous sprain. So it sounds like a neurological response for my body to shut down. It's exactly what happened. And then he's like, this is probably one of the most severe cases I've seen. He's like, but I've seen this happen before. He's like, just letting you know it's going to happen again. It's not going to be as extreme, but it's going to happen again. Ended up happening another 2 times. But those 2 times I blacked out and fucking woke up and I yacked all over the place. I was at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But like I couldn't move. And then that's scary, man. That's when I started streaming because I was playing COD because my bed was like, I don't know, I want to say like where your thing is there. So it'd take me like 10 minutes to like crawl out of bed. I'd crawl into my chair and I would just play COD because like sitting was actually like not bad for a bit. And then I was out of the gym and I couldn't walk for I think like almost like 2 months ish. And then I didn't train for like 8 months. And then some other crazy shit had happened like a couple months after that as well. And it was just like a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Like, it was like thing after thing. Like,
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I'm glad you're good now.
It was scary, man. Like, I was like, I think that's why I'm like just so like grateful of just being able to do the simplest thing right now and being
Yeah.
able to pursue whatever the fuck I want to pursue, because it's like I really thought that it was over for me, because I was like, I'm a bartender. I don't have fucking benefits. Like, I'm like, I have to get on my feet and walk and run around at work. I can't even walk. I mean, I know it was COVID, but I was like, we thought we were going to open back up, you know?
Oh, yeah, there was like 2 times.
And then I was like,
training. We're in the clear.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
We're in the clear.
Yeah, we're open
like,
for like 5 days, then we're closed for like 2 months. Like,
that was brutal.
Yeah, so like I really, it was so scary, and I had to think about so much, because I thought it was, you know, bodybuilding was, I was like, it's out the window for me.
That's such a
work
bummer.
is, yeah, it was
tough
really
place,
fucked up.
mentally hard on you.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Were you playing video games before then?
Yeah, so I played COD when I was like 16. I used to play just like multiplayer online a lot. Loved it. And then I used to play like Halo and stuff. And then started playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare again. Excuse me. And then somebody was like, "Man, you're pretty good. Like, you should start streaming." I was like, "I'm not that fucking good." I'm like, I enjoy it, but I don't know if I should do that. I'm like, who the hell is gonna watch? And then I did it, and I was consistent with it.
Yeah.
Every fucking day. I posted it on my social media, and then I hit affiliate within like a week, 2 weeks.
Nice.
And then that's when it kind of like took off after that. I met a lot of great people. Like, some of my like best friends are through like COD.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a lot of my bodybuilding friends, like we all play together too.
Yeah, nice.
And then that's when,
I don't play too much online, to be honest. Like, we should probably, let's get into the top 5.
Okay.
And let's start with the online games or whatever, right? Like I said, don't play a lot, so like mine are gonna probably be significantly different than yours and older, I'll say, probably.
Aren't you around the same age as me?
I'm 37.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm close.
Yeah,
it's not bad. But there was also like a big gray period for me with video games, where I was just it was just like a rough time. You know, and I didn't play any video games, and
I've been there.
Got my shit together. I was like, I'll play some video games again, and then I just ended up getting the 360 because that's what my friends had, and here we are. But A Way Out is my number one. I don't know.
Out? I've not heard
so
of
it's
that.
like this breaking out of jail game, but it's like a co-op, right? It's 2 people,
okay.
and you have to do all this shit together. Like, you can't play it by yourself.
Oh.
You know, and so
but it's online.
Yeah, it's online.
Okay.
And you could also do couch, but I played like online, and I'm more into the co-op stuff generally because I just suck at like certain things like Black Ops or like fucking Modern Warfare. Like I get fucking just destroyed. Halo was ruined for me after like the 3rd one. Because everything was like online and you had like the giant sword. Like, I'm just getting destroyed by people, so it just wasn't as fun. My second one is a wrestling game that just came out. Fight Forever, AEW Fight Forever.
I forgot about the wrestling games. I used to play those a lot.
There was a lot of better ones back in the day. This one kind of reminds me of like how the wrestling games were just more arcade, easier to do things, but like there's something about like the fun factor of like simplicity of the games back then that I think is missing from a lot of games now. But anyways, number 3, Left 4 Dead.
Yeah,
that was good. Both first 2 were great. They just released like, I don't know, Back 4 Blood like a year or 2 ago.
Yeah, I used to see streams of that.
Not as good, yo.
Yeah.
And then Injustice, which is like DC Comics, like Mortal Kombat, and then the UFC games. That's pretty much it. I'm not like a super big first-person shooter, and when you said you were into them, I've already done it on here, so I was like, what else can we do that's kind of...
That's different?
What you got? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, is it specifically online, or just like, you want to know like top 5 games in general?
I mean, whatever you did, if you came up with...
Because I could go
Do you mostly play online?
For COD, yes. And I used to play Gears of War, too. Okay. I was a big Gears of War fan.
You can do whatever you want. It's not like super. The rules are very loose,
right?
There, you know.
Because like I mean, I've been playing video games since I was like 4.
Okay, yeah,
like, yeah. Like, we had, like, I grew up with, like, a Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
I had N64.
Yeah.
We had Dreamcast. We had...
I'd like to get a... I have a few over there. I'd like to get a Dreamcast.
Dreamcast
and a
was
Super Nintendo.
sick.
That's, like, the only thing.
Yeah. Dreamcast was probably my favorite, because it had a lot of, like, the Asian games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, there was, what is it called? Cannon Spike was one of my favorites. It was, like, I think, was it RPG kind of, like, game? Anyways, yeah, that one was sick. I used to play a lot of Mortal Kombat. Capcom vs. SNK was one of my favorites. And then if you go into, like, N64, like, my first, like, favorite shooter game was called Perfect Dark.
Oh my god, it's right there.
Do you have it?
It's right there.
No.
I fucking love that game.
Dude, love that fucking game.
I can't stress enough how much I love that game. I heard they're like rebooting it, but
really?
Yeah.
They need to reboot Ocarina of Time, because that's my favorite game of all time.
Yeah?
Yes. Favorite game.
It's a good game.
It's my favorite game.
I also have that in there.
Yeah, I think I have like 3 of them at home.
Yeah?
Yeah. I have like different ones with like different missions on them still.
Yeah.
What else did I really like there? I played a lot of James Bond too. Super Smash Bros. Obviously.
Yeah.
But in terms like right now, Call of Duty is like.
Yeah. You play mostly
that's my thing, right?
On PC or PlayStation.
So I had a PS4 up until when did I buy my PC? 2021 was when I got my PC, because it was like when my stream started to do a little bit better. I was like, I really want to invest into one of these, and like I'm gonna stream full time. I'm gonna do this, and then I was like working a lot to afford my PC, and then I was like, fuck, I'm like in the mix where I'm like working so much that I can't even stream now. So I have my PC, which is nice, but I haven't been able to stream on it much because I was living in Oakville, and I was in a basement. And the basement had shit internet. Remember I was telling you before? Like, it was, like, either really good or really bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't have direct connection. So it's like, I can't... Even online, like, multiplayer was horrible for me.
Real choppy.
So I was like, I can't even imagine streaming with this. So...
What's rent like in Oakville?
Well, I had a...
I'm thinking... Because, like, we need to move from here at some point.
Yeah.
Man, fuck.
I'm shedding all over the place.
Do you live with your boyfriend?
No, we do not live together.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's in, he was originally in Georgetown. Or maybe I shouldn't even say where you, like...
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Anyways, he moved.
Yeah.
He's not there anymore.
Okay.
But, in Oakville, I was just living in a basement suite that was, like, I think it was, like, 850 square feet. I was 2-bedroom, and I was paying $17.50, I think.
Oakville's
like
nice,
that.
but it seems like there's a lot of, like... Richie people that live there, you know? I don't know if I...
Yeah, but, like, the place I was in, I don't know, it was fucking massive, but, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I didn't have a very good experience.
Yeah.
Because, like, the landlords that I was living with, they were, like, 80 plus, so they're home all the time. So, like, when I'm working a late night shift at Chop and I'd come home and I'd try to sleep during the day, it's like they're up at, like, 7. Like, the way they walk is, like, fucking so loud. I'm like... Bro, I
Old
can't
people,
do
why
this.
are you getting up so early? You have nothing to do, bro. Fucking relax.
Yo,
you know
literally. It was a lot. And it was just, they always, like, had something to say to me about something. So, it was kind of a nightmare. So, I decided to move back in with my mom, which was great, because it's, like, that's the house I grew up in. So, and I knew that it would probably be beneficial for me, because it was, like, a lot closer for my gym, and just driving everywhere is a lot easier.
Where do you go to the gym? Lifetime? Do you go to that
no,
fucking
I don't go to
WrestleMania of a gym?
You know what? I call
there?
that fucking Globo Gym.
Yo, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I see it, though. I get it.
That's one of my favorite movies. You like that movie?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Here at Globo Gym, we're better than you.
I just love he's like rubbing the pizza on his dick and she walks in, or Michelle walks in with fucking her, and
oh my god, no, the best.
Private reflection period. What have I told you about interrupting me? That's great. There was like, man, that era of comedy, like the Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn. There's so many. They have so many hits.
Vince
it's
Vaughn
ridiculous.
Is easily like my top, like one of my top. Comedian. I guess, would you call him a comedian?
I would, yeah, for sure.
Comedian,
and he's done like There was like a tour, like a stand-up tour that he did called like the Wild West Comedy something. He's done stand-up. Even if you don't, like if you're like writers can be comedians, you know? Like when I did stuff at like Second City, I met a lot of people who didn't even want to perform. They're like, oh, like I want to write for Jimmy Fallon, or like I want to write for Conan, or like just they had the jokes and they were funny. They just didn't like being in front of people and doing that.
They weren't like a performer, yeah.
Yeah, you know. So yeah, I would definitely say comedian. What do you got for superheroes? Top 5. Okay. You want to go first? You can go first.
No, you go first. Okay,
I do them every episode. I'm just gonna kind of go through them quick.
Okay.
This is kind of like the way to get people into like my nerdy fucking world. Like behind that room divider's like shitload of comics, and I have like way more that aren't in there because I'm all OCD about I have them. They have to be in like the same box and like the same fucking bag and like.
Yeah, I should
actually
get you in contact with this artist that I know. His name is Casey. Sorry, I'm gonna have a go.
No,
okay.
Go ahead.
Do you want one? It's kind of shitty,
no, I'm good.
Juicy fruit, but he's a comic book artist, and he did like a couple commission drawings for me. He's really good. I'll get in contact with him.
All right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good. So Batman, it's my number 1.
Yep.
Then Ninja Turtles as a group. I gotta put them in there. It's kind of a little cop out, but I have more cop outs coming. Don't worry. Then Red Hood, who's the symbol on his hat, similar to Batman. Arsenal, and Spider-Man.
Oh, Arsenal. Forgot about Arsenal.
Yeah. Are your see when I did this, when I started doing this, I had people like just list like 5 like people they know, like my sister, you know, blah, beat cancer.
Are you serious?
And I was like, fuck, like now I feel bad for like the people that have actually like helped me in real life. Like am I, you know? So
yeah. No, I went like superheroes.
Yeah, classic.
Like,
all right, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm not gonna feel like shit.
So Hulk, obviously.
All right.
I mean, like he's a big fucking. So my boyfriend actually looks like Bruce Banner in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like he's like the real.
Have you painted him green before?
I
Is
want
this a
to.
thing? She-Hulk and fucking Hulk for Halloween.
Yeah,
we
want
to.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
we want to do that, and I'm just like, oh, man, I'm gonna have to be like super lean for that, and like I'm rarely lean in October, so.
Well, it just depends what you wear. I think it would be all right.
But yeah, that's definitely in the near future for us. But Hulk is definitely in there. Spawn.
Love it.
Love Spawn.
Love it.
I'll never forget the first time I ever watched that movie with John Leguizamo as the clown in that. And I
saw it in drive-in first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been
pretty
sick,
cool.
actually.
And actually, before you go to your third one or whatever one you're on,
yeah,
they were gonna redo it, and Jamie Foxx was cast as like Spawn, and now
I heard about that.
Yeah, and now it's like Jamie Foxx is like not doing well health wise.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so who knows? You know, I'm not saying this in a selfish way. I'm just saying like, you know, like it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. You know, which is a bummer. Such a talented man too. You know.
Well, that was like the guy who did Black Panther.
Yeah.
He passed away, like, what, a year ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, and the second Black Panther wasn't as good. Let's be honest. I'm sorry.
I didn't watch it.
Sorry. Yeah, right?
I didn't watch it.
First one was great.
I don't know. I'm very much like when the actor or actress for a certain character passes away, it's very hard for me to, like, watch a new one and not think about, like, unless they were horrible. Like, I don't know if you ever watched Spartacus.
No.
Oh, fucking one of my favorite shows. But yeah, the main character in that, he ended up getting leukemia and he passed away. And then they like rehired somebody and it just like wasn't the same at all. The show was still like quite good, but it was just not the same. And then same with just like other movies and TV shows that I've watched. But yeah.
Good leading man or a good leading person or whatever is good.
Especially when they set the standards so high, it's like so fucking hard to go back.
What are you gonna do?
That's like, maybe I'll ask you about what you think about the Spider-Man, like the jump between the 3 of them. Then,
I mean,
like, who was your favorite Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire was my favorite.
Really? Okay.
And I actually did like Andrew Garfield. Like, I'm not just saying that hopping on after No Way Home. Like, I really felt like he like there was cool stuff they were doing with his story with like his dad and stuff that wasn't explored in the first one, and I thought it had potential. This new guy, he's all right. I didn't really like the second one, whatever that one was called, when they went overseas or whatever.
Far
wasn't
From
crazy.
Home?
Far From Home. That's probably it. Wasn't crazy about that. That's probably like after like Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire. That's probably like my least favorite. But he's good. I prefer Spider-Man. See, here's the thing, okay? As someone who, like, reads the shit, too, like, I've always preferred, like, solo stuff. Like, I get Batman's in Justice League, but I don't have a lot of Justice League. I have a shitload of Batman.
Yeah.
You know? And I get there's certain exceptions that I can make if I'm not super into any one character of that group. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm like, they're all equals.
Yeah.
I can kind of get into that, but, like... I don't know, man. And I'm super into humans, too. I find humans, like, as superheroes are just far more interesting.
Yeah.
And their stories are funner, more relatable. But I feel like I lost track of what I was saying. Are you still doing your superheroes?
Okay. Yeah, I'd be on my third.
All right, what you got?
Which would be... we're not going in, like, top to bottom. Like,
you don't have to.
Okay.
You can do whatever.
Well, Spider-Man would be
in
there.
Do you have a favorite Spider-Man?
I would have to say it's tough because it's like I really liked what Andrew did. He kind of brought that like more emotional, like more real side to what I would think it would be like to be in that position.
Yeah. There was a scene where he saved like a little boy. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
Fucking tears.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He's just he's such a talented actor. But I think Tom brings that more like dramatic, more theater kind of side to like Hollywood, I guess, because it would be more. I think they wanted to go in the direction of Tom because it's like he could relate more to like kids, and like if you can.
He was more like around that age and.
Yeah, like if you can tailor to more what's the word? Like a wide variety of an audience, it's gonna make more money. So I understand why they went like that and why it's done so well. But I think Andrew is more like for like true Spider-Man fans. I feel like he was kind of more but I
give him a part 3.
That's just me saying I never read any of the comics, but just based on my preference, I think he was really, really good. So Toby was like quite good, but I'm just not a big fan of Toby. I think that's maybe why.
Okay.
So yeah.
Is he a douchebag or something? Is he like a known? Like,
I just think like he's very.
He doesn't tip, or like is he just like
I don't
find
know.
Out those things? He only likes green M&Ms or some shit. You know, he seems like a green M&M guy. You know what I mean?
No, I just like when I watched him versus Andrew, like I was saying, I feel like Andrew he offers so much more depth to the character, whereas I don't know if Toby is really like capable of that as an actor.
The third one was the worst Spider-Man movie. Third one with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
It's the worst one for sure. I would say like No Way Home is my favorite Marvel movie of all time, even though it's kind of like its own Sony thing, but fuck.
Yeah, because it was different production, right? For Andrew and like Tom, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like I think I really like the theatrics and the cinematic part of Tom as Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. You know, like the budget clearly was like way above what they had maybe for Andrew. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but I know that the movie itself, not so much. The character was like quite a big contrast.
Okay.
Yeah. I love movies. So I like sometimes I
cool.
overthink it all.
No, it's all good.
I think they're both great. I can't really pick between the two, but I think Tom as a whole has more of an opportunity and more pull from multiple different audiences.
Yeah.
Like worldwide.
Yeah.
But I think people who are like very much into like the not the dark side, but the more I guess emotional side of
Andrew.
Yeah.
They were good.
It's a different storyline.
Was that 5?
No.
No.
So I said Hulk.
Hulk.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Wait,
Spawn.
it hasn't just been... Oh, there we go.
Spawn, yeah. And then, Batman and Superman, honestly.
All right.
Like, I mean, I don't really... haven't watched too much with Superman. But it's like, I kind of just grew up with it. He was always around.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that was more like my era.
All right.
Yeah.
I dig it. Let's do... You want to do athletes? Let's do athletes.
Yeah,
you can go
let's
first
do that.
with this one.
George St. Pierre, obviously.
All right.
Because I'm Portuguese, I feel like I have to say Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay.
Israel Adesanya.
Okay.
Yeah, he's fighting tonight. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's phenomenal.
Yeah, he's great.
I'm trying to think of other.
And I love that he's like
UFC fighters.
He's a good trash talker. I can appreciate that.
Yeah. Definitely add some entertainment.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it makes it more about fighting. Like coming from like I love all the combat shit, but like coming from a wrestler, like a guy who loves wrestling, like I can just appreciate making it a little bit more than just like two guys punching each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Michael Jordan. It's gotta be, obviously he's the GOAT. And then, man, I wanna say like Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson.
Oh wow, Mike Tyson's fucking. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I would say the best boxer of all time. That's Mike for me.
Yeah.
Do you have like a bodybuilder? Like you can say your boyfriend? Shit.
I mean, yeah, I probably should say him, eh? No, he's phenomenal. I think he's so great. But we'll take him out of that.
All right.
Because I mean, that's obviously gonna be my answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you need top 5 bodybuilders?
No, you can just give me one. Because you didn't have one in there. You didn't have one in there.
I know, because I'm like, you wouldn't know who they were.
Oh, okay, I don't care.
I could do like top 5 bodybuilders.
Oh, shoot. Go ahead if you want to. Can't just pick one.
I can't pick one, yeah.
All right.
Dorian Yates, Phil Heath, Sean Roden. Those are like the older, they're like kind of like more, I don't know. Like
experience.
5-6 years ago. Yeah, they're all like Olympia winners.
Okay.
And then if I can pick 2 from our current era right now. There's a newer guy. His name's Andrew Jacked, and he's like he looks like an action figure. Like I can show you some of these guys, but yeah, Andrew Jacked's got to be up there. And then I can't pick 5. This is way too hard. Well, like if I have to pick a 5th.
Shut up, me.
I'd have to say.
Do it.
I'd have to say. Hadi Choopan is one of my favorites. He won last year. But that's really me, like, really trying to narrow it down. Like, I'm a fan of a bunch of them.
You could do like a 20. Easy.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, right. Yeah.
I could appreciate that. All right, so for me, Stone Cold is my number 1. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, yeah.
Just, like, fucking represents everything that, like, good wrestling is to me. George St. Pierre is my number 2.
Yep.
And I'm going Tony Hawk.
Oh,
that
Tony
was my
Hawk.
3rd, yeah. I felt like he was just a game changer, you know? I feel like you can say that now, like, maybe, like, pre-Tony Hawk or, like, I don't know, whatever amount of years ago, like, people wouldn't consider skateboarding. I think it's in the Olympics now. Like,
is it really?
I feel like that. I heard some shit about that.
That's awesome.
I don't watch the Olympics. That's the thing. Like, I'm not... No matter what it is, I can't... Like, I can't get it in me to pretend I care about bobsledding for, like, a month. I just can't...
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
Me, I
if you're into
gymnastics.
That, cool. I love Cool Runnings.
Yeah. That's a fucking great movie.
Right? So, yeah. Then my number 4 is Tracy McGrady. Arguably... Michael Jordan, on paper, is a better player, for sure. Maybe, like, he's up there.
Yeah.
But for me, I enjoyed watching Tracy McGrady more.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Jordan was, when I was just getting into basketball, Jordan was, like, towards his end. Like, it was, like, the end of his, like, you know, spectacular run that he did with the Bulls. So,
yeah.
And And then I'm going newer wrestler. His name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's from
What
a new
name.
promotion.
Holy.
Yeah, he just really says MJF most of the time.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my 5.
Nice.
And he's like essentially just like the new Ric Flair, but more athletic. Like he's that guy. He's just like, you know.
I feel like, are they all like super athletic now?
It's definitely shifted. Like there was a time where like all they really cared about was being big. And there was like this big steroid scandal that Vince McMahon was involved in. And like since then, they've really like leaned down, and with that comes like more high flying and just like it's
more
definitely
agile.
Yeah, even the bigger dudes are doing like flips and shit now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely changed. And right now I'd say wrestling is like at a fucking peak just because of competition is good, right? WWE bought their main competition like 15 or 20 years ago. Someone might fucking get at me for not getting that right, but anyways, they bought their main competition. It's like Coke buying Pepsi, and then it's like they didn't have anything to kind of like keep their product fresh or even a reason to. They were like, we run this shit. It was a monopoly, you know? Right. And now this new fucking promotion came in like 5 years ago, and it's just been crushing it. If you were a fan of wrestling and you haven't watched it for a long time, fucking get back into it now.
I'm gonna need to, because I haven't watched it for a while.
Logic songs?
Yes.
This your dude? I really like Logic. And I didn't even know, like he's black?
Yeah, so
what
he's
the fuck?
He's
It's wild.
Yeah, I think he's either half or a quarter. Because I think his dad is either half or he's full. I honestly don't know. But he is.
But he's allowed to say the N-word. We know that. I can go first on this one if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Nasty. That's my number 1. Young Jesus. That's my number 2. Wu-Tang Forever.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to put that one in mine.
1-800. That one. That's my number 4. And then Homicide with Eminem, which is also
that's so
pretty great
good.
video.
ISIS is good, too.
ISIS.
With Joyner Lucas?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's really good. But I'd have to say, okay, so top 5 for me, 44 Bars. I really liked The Last Call. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like the time of my life, and it just like really speaks to me. He talks about like his whole life in that one. I really, really love that one. What else did I have on there? I put it on my phone. 1 second.
Oh, no worries.
The Return.
Mm-hmm.
I Am the Greatest. And Soul Food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like NF? How do you feel about NF?
I love NF.
Yeah. I
really do. I mean, he's a little bit like, you know, fucking in your face, like aggressive
Always.
with certain, just, it's a little bit much, but I really respect that and appreciate that about him. Like, because not a lot of people do that. Just really puts his all into it. Like his whole fucking soul he puts into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's very talented.
We'll end with... Okay, so I was literally writing this stuff like I have... You guys don't see this. I'll show you for the first time ever. But I have my notes here, right? And so I was writing down, you know, this guy's name. And my lady's like, how are you going to pronounce his name? Because she's like a big fan of this.
Oh, so this guy.
Like,
okay.
And so I was like, Cillian? Cillian Murphy, right?
Yeah.
It's Killian. Did you know? You knew that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck me, man.
Yeah, because for a long time I was like, how the fuck do I say this name?
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of Peaky Blinders.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh my god, you have to. You have to.
My lady's sister will be here sometimes, and she's watching it right now. And so I saw
okay.
Yeah.
It's probably my number 1 show.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Are they still making it, or is it over?
It's over, unfortunately. They did a movie as like the last one, and yeah, I'm really quite sad that it's done.
So is that your number 1, Peaky Blinders? You
can
put it in if
it
you
was
want.
well, because it just finished. I was like waiting for it to finish because like I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. I love like fantasy and I like historical dramas.
Yeah.
So it was trying to pick between Game of Thrones, Last Kingdom, and Peaky Blinders. Those are like my top 3. But then when I finished watching Peaky, I was like, it's just phenomenal. Like, absolutely unbelievable. Like, everything that they had done couldn't have been better, I don't think.
I'll check it out at some point.
So, whereas like the other 2 shows, I think were phenomenal as well, but there was things that they could have done better on. So,
all right.
Yeah.
I can go first, I guess. So this is another cop-out. The Dark Knight trilogy. That's my number 1.
Okay.
Because I just think it's, like, they're all 10s for me. Obviously, if I was picking, like, I would do Dark Knight, Batman Begins, and then Dark Knight Rises. But I just cheated and put the trilogy. Inception. It's my number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Red Eye.
I've not seen Red Eye.
Oh, it's like this, like, falls asleep on a plane. It's like this weird, like, plane mystery fucking...
Oh, that would scare the shit out of me.
Oh, my God. Anyways, you haven't seen that? Definitely do it. Yeah, for sure.
I fly a lot, so I don't know if I want to watch
fucking don't fly a lot. Heights aren't my thing, but generally, like, when I do fly, I just try to sleep. Like, I'm just going to stay up for 30 hours, you know?
You know what? I try to do the same, but it's never successful.
Well, if you fly a lot, I mean, if it's got a...
Does
it become normal at some point? Do you get jet lag? Is that a thing for you anymore?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened one time when I went to Europe, but I always have somebody either in my row or behind me. That's so fucking annoying. Like, every single time. Never fails.
Yeah.
There's a baby behind me screaming, like, or I have somebody beside me that's either watching a movie with the music on or like the audio on or like somebody's hammered. So like on my way back from Vancouver, I like had on the way to Vancouver and on the way back to Vancouver from Vancouver, I had the worst fucking experience. Like just people just like, I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Please just let me sleep. And people just want to talk. And they just don't leave me alone because they're fucking hammered. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not hammered.
Some of us aren't hammered. Yeah.
Yeah, like, fuck. I'm trying to sleep, man. I haven't slept for like 2 months. Like, leave me alone. So, yeah. Haven't seen that movie.
Did you see I don't know what airline it was, but they, like, got in shit because they were trying to make people just, like, sit and puke. Well, there was one where it was, like...
Sit and puke?
Sit and puke that they had, like... I don't know. There was one where it was puke, and then they kicked somebody off and, like, threatened them with, like, a no-fly list because they weren't willing to sit and, like, puke. Like, it was cleaned up, but it was still, like, wet. Like, if I puked here and I just wiped it, there'd still be fucking puke here. You know what I mean? And they were trying to be like, you have to sit there.
No.
And the person was like, no. And then they were trying to give this person shit. And then there was another one with a person with, like, diarrhea. And they had to, like, turn the plate. This all happened in, like, a week. It was wild.
I gotta look this up. It's probably Flair. It's probably Flair.
Probably Flair.
That's who I flew with in Vancouver.
Fuck, man. But the diarrhea one, oh my god. It's literally, like, just a whole section of the plane. Person's just, like, in it, you know? Just, like, showing you the whole fucking... aisleways, just shit. Yeah, just nasty diarrhea. And it would look like a lot. Like, we gotta turn this plane around. The captain apparently announced it as, like, some, like, biohazard thing. It's like, we gotta turn the plane around, you know? Like, at least they were good about it, though.
Dude, no, that's my worst nightmare.
Fuck. Alright, so, Cillian Murphy movies. Oppenheimer is my number 4.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. I gotta watch it.
It's a good one. And then A Quiet Place 2.
Bro, I love that movie.
Yo, the first one.
The first one is phenomenal.
Yeah, they're both really good.
What is her name? Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
And is it Ethan? What's his name? No, not Ethan. What's her husband's name? Because they're actually married.
Yeah, the guy from Office. I fucking can't remember his name.
Love that guy.
Yeah. He wrote the movie, I believe, and she might have had something to do with it as well.
I think so too, yeah.
But yeah, great. What you got?
For top 5...
Cillian Murphy? Do you have 5?
Cillian movie? Oh. Honestly, it's just like Peaky. He's so fucking good.
Peaky Blinders.
Like his character.
Yeah.
So his character in that is my favorite character of all time.
Okay. How many seasons of it?
Such a fucking badass. I believe there's 8.
Oh shit, that's an investment. Okay. It's on my to watch list.
No, maybe 6 or so. I think either 7 or 8 is the movie,
Mm.
and then there's 6 seasons. I think.
All right.
But you have to watch it. It's
I'll
phenomenal.
check it out at some point. Here you go. Do you want to end with this?
Okay,
you wanna
yeah.
Pick one randomly. It'll be switch from orange, and there was another orange. Like, fuck you, pick.
I wanted green. Green's my favorite color.
All right.
So do I pick the question? Or no, we can both.
You can you can ask both of them. Just ask one at a time.
okay.
We'll go back and forth.
Okay, when do you feel the most alive?
Wow. Oh man. Okay, so it's been a while. I think the last time I don't know. It's been a while since I really performed. When I would go from like performing like 4 to however many times a week to like once a month. It doesn't feel like it. So maybe like earlier in fucking January I might have said that, but I feel like right now, after like a real, and like I said, I feel like I'm going through a lull. Like I don't like fucking waking up all the time and going into work. I was fucking like mad sick a few days ago and just like
there's something going around for sure.
But like when I get home from work and I see my daughter's face for the first time and she just smiles at me, like that makes me feel the most alive. I'm like, I'm like instantly like not tired.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't want to say instantly not tired, but she's just over 4 months. Oh yeah,
energy,
for sure. And, yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah?
What about
Love
you?
that. When do I feel the most alive? Probably when I'm training.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's a position that I'm put in where I need to exceed what my mind is telling me. Like, my body needs to exceed that or try to push past the fact that my mind is telling me no. Or, sorry, that my body's telling me no. But really, my mind can be like, okay, yes, you can fucking do it. And then I can overcome that.
I was waiting for the R. Kelly.
But yeah, I'd have to say when I'm training, that's the only thing I can think of right now. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good answer. Okay. What animal are you scared of? Any encounters?
So I love animals.
Yeah.
But the only animal I would say makes me feel a little uneasy are birds.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, like any bird in particular? Like the big
No,
ones? Like
no,
fucking
like small
turkey
ones.
vultures or fucking robins?
Small ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. I think because like I can't. I can read animals really well, but I can't read a bird. I like don't know what if this thing is gonna
attack you when you were younger or some shit. Like
geese are fucking. They're fucking violent.
Yeah, they're not.
But
nice.
I did have a bird fly at my head one time when I opened my garage when I was younger. So
Oh
maybe
shit!
that's
Yeah,
why.
yeah. Fuck. All right.
What about you?
I don't know, man. Like I used to be afraid of snakes. Then I got a snake. It was cool, and I fucking
Snakes.
and I don't know. Maybe like a fucking shark.
I
But I feel
sharks.
like I don't know. You do?
Yeah, I know it's weird.
I'm not saying they're not cool. Like, I'm fascinated by them, and I think they're absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
But, like, I would never want to be,
scared,
like, around a shark.
Yeah,
like,
I
it
would be
terrify
scared,
me. I've been really close to, like, I've had, like, bear encounters.
Oh, really?
And, like, I was kind of, like, scared, but, like, not really also. Like, I ran. Like, I didn't stick around. I was like, hey, man.
Are you supposed to, like, not run?
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing was, I lived on a big property in BC at the time, and also there was someone else. Like, I was second in line. And I was like, well, I'm fucking... And, I'm young. I didn't give a fuck anyway.
Yeah.
I saw a bear, and I was, like, literally riding my bike. And I, like, got off my bike, and I just booked it. And it was, like... my cousin, I was living... It's such a weird... Like, my whole family thing is weird, but it was, like, my cousin's wife's daughter.
Okay.
And so, like, we weren't, like... I wasn't super... Like, if she had to go over me, for sure.
Bye.
Sorry, Julia.
Never liked it that much.
Yeah, right? Fucking bear got her outside, guys. I don't know what happened. I tried to help. But, yeah, I don't know. I love animals as well.
Yeah.
All right, what's your other one?
What small moment in your life led to a big change?
Ooh, a small moment.
Oh yeah, small moment. That is kind of.
Oh wow. Okay.
You don't mind if I vape, right? It's a horrible addiction that I have.
I think it should be okay. shit the worst. Why'd you do it all weird? I said it was okay.
Small little puff.
Like, no,
why.
it's still not okay. I
felt
felt you were uncomfortable.
Yeah, really.
A
little respectful puff there.
Fuck, I forgot what was the
sorry.
thing? No, it's okay.
Small moment in your life that led to a big change.
Okay, so I met my lady on Tinder.
Okay.
And I would say I had Tinder for like a day, yo. And
oh, wow.
And like, here's the thing, like, you know Steve Coccolucci, been friends with him for a bit. He met his lady, we worked together like a few times. He met his lady on Tinder, and the second time we worked together, our boss had met his either fiance or wife on Tinder, and we were in a conversation. I had just like got out of my, well, I don't want to say that. Like when I got out of my last relationship, I was like, fuck women for like a year and a half, like straight up.
Yeah.
And it was getting to the point where I was like talking about maybe getting back into it, and like Steve and our boss, they mentioned like Tinder. And it's a long story for a short, or like a small moment, but they mentioned Tinder, and like, oh man, like I was like, guys, but like, again, not cockiness, but like, I'm not trying to just get laid. Like if I just want to get laid, like I can do that. Like that's what I thought Tinder was.
Right.
And they're like, no, like we met our ladies, and I was like, all right. And so like, I went home after that conversation and like, fucking, I don't know, downloaded it and fucking found her, and I was very up, but like my shit was like. I was probably like the worst part. Like people that use that shit on a regular. Like, who the fuck's this guy?
I've never used it. I don't know. Like my friends use it, and I just laugh mostly at some of the things I see, but I've not used it before.
Yeah, so it was like I was just like a guy looking for his person. That was my thing,
Aww.
you know. And fucking.
That's so cute.
Yeah, and then we matched, and then we like talked on the phone like that night, and fucking here we are. So I would say like downloading Tinder was the small moment. I have a daughter now.
Yeah.
You know? So I guess that's
sure. That's awesome.
Fucking Tinder. Me and Steve should make a commercial. Telling you. Do you have one while I was giving you that?
Small moment. That's tough.
Small moments are hard. That was the thing,
tough.
Right?
Yeah.
If you don't, it's all right.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we'll come back to it.
Yeah, if you think of something, we can go back to it.
Nothing's popping into my head.
Not a big deal. Do you have any old-fashioned beliefs or values?
Yeah, I would say almost all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Because like my dad and my mom. Well, my dad was born in 1959. Then my mom was in 1962. So, and they were both. Like, my dad was born in Vietnam, and then my mom was born in Portugal. So they come from, like, pretty strict, like, families, I guess you could say, in terms of, like, really living at, like, having good morals and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And they're very old school. So I would say, like, most of mine, or if not all.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fair. I feel like the same. I feel like as time goes on, it's just, like, standards change a little bit. So it's, like, sometimes that changes with me, but like I also though believe that like feminism has like destroyed chivalry, which is like, and I'm not saying like the old fucking, you know, ancient meaning of chivalry. I just mean like just simple like manners and like, you know, guys not hitting women or maybe opening a door. Like I believe in things like that. Like I was raised in foster homes and stuff, but like one person from my family that was always like consistent was my Nana, who's like old school, like Italian woman, you know?
Oh, okay.
And so like she was very, old school's the way. And I don't know. She was open-minded, but also
very close-minded.
At the same time.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
My mom is like that.
It's all good. I love my Nana. Like I said, if I was doing... I don't even know if I said... like I said before. But if I was doing a real person for superheroes, my Nana would be the person, you know?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like my mom.
Close with your family?
Yeah. Because it was like me... Growing up, it was just me, my brother, and my mom. Like, my dad was in and out of the picture. But, yeah, I'm very close with my family. My mom's whole side is here, and we're all, like, very close. And then my dad's side, they all live in the States, but they they make a big effort to stay in contact with me and support me still.
Right.
Like they've like drove down 10 hours to watch me compete before. Like,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're really awesome. So I'm really close to my family. I think it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good to have.
Yeah.
If you want, you can let these people know where to get at you. I guess we'll wrap her up.
Oh yeah, sure.
You
so
pushing anything? What you got?
Well, I do have a YouTube channel, but I'm not really doing too much on that, so never mind, we'll cut that out. But I've got my social media, which is Milan Leite, and then I have my baking account right now, which is Mama Me's Confections.
All right.
And then I have what else do I have? Got my Twitch, Milky Peach 10, which hopefully I'll be able to start streaming again because there's a new COD coming out in I think it's October.
I heard Steve talking about it.
Yeah, he told me about it.
Oh, that's a likely story. Yeah.
And then what else? Yeah, I guess my YouTube. I'm gonna be posting more on my YouTube for Hostile, which is my sponsor, and then I'll be doing some of my baking stuff on there, just more like lifestyle stuff.
All right.
And yeah, I think that's it.
Wicked.
So yeah.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
Almost 2 hours, but it's been a blast.
That's crazy. Time goes by, eh? Oh, I realized time's right there.
Well, guys, like always, this podcast is brought to you by Neon Light District. Hit them up. Use code PillowTalk to save 10%. And by The Great North Apparel. Hit them up. Use code PillowTalk to save 30%. Go follow Milan. And I'll see you in 2 weeks, guys. Peace the fuck out.
Peace.